Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I see Avery.
She was gonna say hi to you.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning to you.
Daniel, you tell me when you want me to start.
Okay, we'll give it another minute here before we get going.
My apologies to those who see me rather casual, but I am stuck at home waiting a COVID test result because of an employee who got too close to me. I do not have any of the symptoms, but I am working from home.
Well, I hope you get a negative test.
I do too, after having that fence post shoved up my nose.
Okay, we officially now have a quorum. So if you want to go ahead and get started, Ryan, that'd be great.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and call the October 11th meeting of the Regional Planning Commission to order. Welcome, everybody, and glad to see everybody here today. Too bad we couldn't be in person down in Louisville, but this will suffice for today. And Judge, I'm glad to see you're doing well, though, and hopefully you get a negative test.
Thank you.
The next order of business will be the roll call of the members. So Rachel, if you'll do roll call.
Okay, Honorable Jerry Summers, Miss Felicia Harper,
Here.
Mr. Keith Griffey, Honorable John Logan Brent, Ms. Amanda Ricketts, Ms. Emily Liu, Mr. Tony Parrott, Ms. Gretchen Milliken,
Yes.
Mr. Mike King.
Here.
Ms. Amy Alvey, Mr. Jim Urban, Honorable David Vogel, Mr. Ryan Libke,
Here.
Mr. Craig Myatt,
Here.
Honorable John Riley,
Here.
Ms. Julie Sweezy, Honorable Todd Pollock, Honorable Joe Robinson, and Mr. Eric McGuire. Also, just really quickly about Mr. Eric McGuire, does anyone, is he with Spencer County, Judge Riley, or do you know? We're not sure who he is.
That I'm aware of, no.
Okay. All right.
Do you happen to remember from back in the day who Mr. Eric McGuire might be and who he represents?
I've never heard of him.
Okay, he's on our regional planning council, so we will, I guess, remove him and move on. All right.
Rachel, let the record reflect that Emily Lou is present and Jerry Summer. They
Okay,
got on after.
Thank you.
All
great. Thank you.
right. So
Rachel, pardon me,
yes,
you may also want to let the record reflect it's the 13th of October versus the 11th.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I got the
My
date
bad.
wrong.
Oh, the agenda. Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, now we got that taken care of. Let's go on to the minutes from the January 14th meeting. You should have received a copy in your email for those minutes, and we'll entertain a motion. I think Craig signaled.
Yeah, motion.
Motion by Craig Myatt. We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Minutes are approved. Our next item is the resiliency planning update.
Yes. I'll just a brief update. We have, as part the EDA, through the EDA, there was CARES funding allocated that the ads applied for to be able to do resiliency planning for our region. And as part of that funding, it's a 2-year funding opportunity that allows us to create a resiliency plan in response to the pandemic. And it also is going to allow us to hire a resiliency and economic resiliency coordinator in this division as well to assist local governments with needs assessments and connecting to grant opportunities and connecting you to resources to respond to COVID-19. And we have developed, this also will impact the response related to pandemic recovery. And as part of that, in conjunction with our hazard mitigation plan update, we are looking at creating a hub, an online hub that encompasses all of these plans and then provides resources for economic recovery related to COVID-19. And Olivia has prepared a presentation to go over what we envision that looking like and how you can participate. We did send out the survey for you to respond to, so we would appreciate any feedback on that. That would be fantastic. As our CEDS update is actually due December 1st, we would like to get as much data and from you all as possible related to that, so we can get that included in CEDS. But beyond that, I'll let Olivia take over and share her presentation.
Yes, okay, awesome. I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second. All right, okay. So I'm going to basically go over in a little bit more depth what Danielle's been talking about and speak about the resiliency grant that we received from the EDA. Awesome. So as Danielle touched on, we'll be hiring an economic resiliency planner. We'll also be writing a pandemic recovery plan, as well as creating a resiliency hub and integrating the hazard mitigation plan and the comprehensive economic development strategy as well. So we'll just go over each individual component. And if you have any questions, we will discuss those at the end. So the economic resiliency planner, essentially, as Danielle mentioned, is going to work with our local governments to develop strategies and solutions for COVID-19 recovery and essentially serve as a regional center point for connection and identifying recovery needs. They're also kind of going to be our regional expert in any sort of COVID-related funding or COVID-related policy as it comes down from the federal level. As we all know, the CARES Act was kind of hard to digest at times. And so we would like to have someone on staff who is incredibly well versed in that. And that'll be a large part of their job as well. They're also going to coordinate trainings for local officials, probably webinars for COVID recovery. And one of their main tasks is creating a database of resources for local governments and our communities in response to COVID. And other tasks they'll do include assisting with continuity of operations plans. We are in the midst of hiring someone, so hopefully that will be coming soon. So the second part of our ED funding is the resiliency plan. This will be a completely online web-based plan, which is going to be at KIPDAplanforrecovery.org, which will connect to our hub. I'll talk about our hub later. So there's going to be 3 primary sections: what happened, what was the response, and what else do we need, and how do we move forward? So the first section is going to look at the business, local government, and individual level. So looking at the number of business closures, also the demographics of business owners, unemployment, looking at foot traffic data as well, local government, looking at county, state quarantine timelines, loss of revenue, local government attitudes through surveys, individuals, looking at the impact on individuals through changes in social services, changes in school opening and closing, childcare, transportation changes. A lot of these are intertwined as well, but kind of going over, what happened, what's the gist of that, and then moving on to what was our response. So what assistance was provided. So CARES funding, SBA funding, utility forgiveness and moratoriums, technology expenses for schools and local governments, and those kinds of things. And then the third part is going to be, how do we move forward? And this is going to be based off of surveys and interviews with KIPDA region local governments, businesses, nonprofits, and individuals. And a lot of that work will be done by our economic resiliency planner. And so they'll be assessing what were the shortfalls, who hasn't been helped. I think we can all think of a million things that need to be done, but the economic resiliency planner will be gathering that data and creating a succinct list of strategies for recovery. So that's the resiliency plan. And so then the resiliency plan connects to our resiliency hub. So as I mentioned before, the resiliency plan is going to be entirely web-based, and it's going to be connected to our online resource hub, which will be called resilientkentuckiana.org. And so resilientkentuckiana.org, our hub, will connect to the resilience recovery plan, as well as the hazard mitigation plan and our CEDS as well. And it will also contain a variety of resources. So community resources, where are food banks located, where are COVID-19 testing centers, if that's still relevant at the time, how has transportation been impacted, what do transportation routes for TARC look like now, utilities, as well as like multilingual assistance. We'll be looking at business assistance as well. So what loans and funding are available for businesses. We'll have some implementing social distancing guidelines, again, if that's still relevant at the time, teleworking guidelines as well as online integration, especially for small businesses, and some how-tos on that in a business response template, as well as some webinars for business recovery training. And then finally, we'll have resources for local governments. So going over the grants and funding available. We'll also have a survey for local governments. We will have additionally recovery training for local governments. So this is going to be kind of our central hub for our community, our businesses, and our local governments to figure out what resources are available for COVID-19 recovery, and also to look at data that's pertinent to recovery. So that hub will then also, as I mentioned, connect to our hazard mitigation plan, which is our next piece. So our hazard mitigation plan, if you aren't familiar, is required for communities under the Stafford Act of 2001. Essentially what it does is it assesses the likelihood that a natural disaster or other hazard will occur and figures out how our communities can better prepare and create a more resilient communities through different infrastructure and other projects. kind of the point of these plans is to pinpoint resiliency projects that can be funded by FEMA. For the KIPDA hazard mitigation plan, we include Bullitt, Henry, Oldham, Shelby, Spencer, and Trimble. Jefferson County does their own. And we recently received the go-ahead and our funding to begin the KIPDA 2021 HMP. We were expecting to have received that late last year, so we're kind of operating at a little bit more of a rushed timeline than we had anticipated, especially with the constraints involving community engagement and public engagement due to COVID-19. So we're trying to come up with some creative ways to engage the public and our local officials and local government employees. And so one of those ways we're doing that is through a hazard mitigation planning portal that we'll be launching in November, which is going to assess different natural disaster hazards in the KIPDA region and seek public input and input from community officials. We are also going to be hoping, and this is particularly relevant to the planners in the room, but we're hoping to do a better integration of hazard mitigation planning and land use planning. A lot of times those items can contradict each other. And so we're trying to do a better job of identifying which areas are prime for development and have been identified for development through comprehensive land use plans, and how does that align with where hazards are. So we'll be including that in our plan. We'll also be adding climate change. We had an intern this summer from Indiana University who did a climate assessment for us, which we'll be including. We'll also be including downscaled localized climate data, which we're very excited about. So our kickoff meeting for the hazard mitigation plan is going to be on November 12th at 10:30 a.m. in the Shelby County Fiscal Court. It will be a distanced meeting with masks. Hopefully all of our counties should be present with 2 or more representatives, and we'll be going over how we're going to approach hazard mitigation planning and public participation during the COVID pandemic. So we're very excited about that. And the HMP will be integrated with the resiliency plan because they'll both be located on the hub, as well as we're adding pandemic to the hazard mitigation plan that hasn't been identified as a hazard before. But as we all know, that is a very relevant hazard, I would believe. And we will also be really focusing on social vulnerabilities in the hazard mitigation plan, and those same social vulnerabilities will be present in the resiliency plan as well. And so another integration with the resiliency plan is the CEDS plan, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. Many of us are familiar with CEDS. We update it every year. Essentially, it's a plan for effective and sustaining economic development. It's the cornerstone of USCDA. Basically does a SWOT analysis on how we can generate jobs, diversify the economy, and spur economic growth. And it figures out how to make the region competitive in national or global economies. So it's kind of more of a broad strategy for economic development. And we are in the midst of updating our data for 2020 and also including information related to the pandemic. So we'll be adding information related to the COVID-19 impact on businesses and the KIPDA region economy in the 2020 CEDS. So data that we've been using so far typically relates to foot traffic and business data. So we're excited about that. CEDS is also an online document, and it will be connected in our Resiliency Hub. And then just to go over this one more time about our Resiliency Hub. So our Resiliency Hub will include resources for businesses, the community, and local governments. It will also include the resiliency / recovery plan, as well as our CEDS and our HMP. All right, and this is our contact information. I'll be handling hazard mitigation planning. Hayden Candle, who is on the call today, handles our CEDS. Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
And I would just like to say really quickly, as they mentioned, we are in the process of updating our CEDS as we speak. And this year we are incorporating an opportunity zone segment. So if you all have any information of how you have utilized the opportunity zones in your counties, or just any information on them in general, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Olivia, this is Gretchen. I just wanted to let you know that we've just recently done a climate mitigation plan called Prepare Louisville, which is on our website. That it really looked a lot at the social aspects of climate mitigation and preparedness and hazard mitigation that you might be interested in just looking at as you move forward with all this work.
Yeah, I've been reviewing Louisville's information regarding climate preparation, and it's awesome. And definitely we're using it as a good reference for us. So thanks, Gretchen.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to talk with any of us, please feel free to reach out, and we'd be happy to talk with you or connect you with some of the people that we worked with.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, all right. Any other questions, comments? Okay.
Yeah, Olivia, I have one.
Yeah.
On the 12th at 10:30 here at Shelby County, are you going to send out an invite to everybody?
Yes.
And, all right.
I will be.
Everybody look for that invite and plan to attend on November 12th here at Shelby County. We'll host you and be glad to see you here in Shelby County.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Judge, will that be in the circuit courtroom?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll be up on the top floor of the courthouse in downtown. So look forward to seeing everybody on the 12th. Thank you for that. All right, if there's no other questions, we'll move on to the county quarterly updates. And Judge Eisen, since we're here, since got you on here, you want to go ahead and do any updates for Shelby County?
Well, one of the things I was listening to with great interest on where we're going, I've got 300 jobs available in our county, and we can't fill them. And worrying about climate control and worrying about some of our other things, we may need to go back to the basics of where are we going to find the employees? With the benefits that are going on right now, it is beneficial to an employee not to work because some of them are taking home more than they were making working. We just lost $1 million expansion in Shelby County because we couldn't find 25 employees. This is, I don't know that I'm unique. I know that this is a situation that concerns me a great deal. The other thing is 50% of our workforce are working out of our county. So this is a big issue that we're dealing with in Shelby County. And I was sitting here thinking whether to bring it out, but I don't want us to get ahead of a curve with all this planning when we talk about impacting business. The impact of business is there's no employees. And I don't know the magic answer to that one. It's as a businessman, it's one that really concerns me and how we're going to address that. But things, as bad as they may seem, are really good in Shelby County right now. When I break it down to the number of COVID cases we have, how we're handling it, and so forth based on our population, I can't say that I'm not concerned. Certainly I'm concerned. And we've had about, I believe, 14 deaths in Shelby County. But I don't think we're getting actual reporting because we have medical concerns that over and above the COVID issues. But I do think we need to be planning. We need to be looking ahead. We need to be studying, but we also need to look at what are we dealing with? And I'm using myself as an example. I'm stuck at home because I was in a room with an individual that tested positive that didn't know he was positive till he started having some symptoms. And it keeps snowballing and going on. I don't want to be rattling. I thank you for the opportunity. Things are good in Shelby County. They could always be better. And I'm sure I'm not unique to the other judges that are on this conference call.
Thank you, Judge. Craig, do you want to add anything from Shelby County?
As far as the update of the road department, we did get notified. We are receiving our flex funds. We presented at the last fiscal court meeting to accept the agreement and do the resolution to accept the funds. We're still waiting on the agreement to come back from Frankfurt with all the signatures from the lawyers and the Secretary of Rural Municipal Aid Commissioner. Once we get that back, we'll be soliciting bids for resurfacing of those roads. Other than that, we're still cutting dead trees. Purchased a new boom mower. We have one go down to cut back on the tree limbs that are encroaching the roadway. And then we're on our last mowing, getting ready to wrap it up and switch all the trucks over for snow and ice removal. That's about all I have right now.
Thank you, Craig. Deputy Judge John Park, do you have anything from Shelby County to add or for an update?
This morning I took a little bit of a drive and noticed that the 53 is well under construction. They've cordoned off one section of the bridge going over the railroad tracks, so that's in full swing. So if you're in Shelby County, please plan accordingly. For those of you who don't know, I'm John Park. I'm the new Deputy Executive. I'm replacing Janet Cuthrell, who decided to take off a couple of her hats and retired from county government. So I'm sitting here taking notes and learning, working with Ryan on a few things, and look forward to working with you as we move forward.
Thank you, John. Just on the planning and zoning side from Shelby County, so far this year, our permit numbers are still better than they were last year. So our activity here in Shelby County is great. We've already permitted 284 dwelling units this year compared to 282 last year for the whole year of last year. So we've surpassed that number at the end of September and still have the next quarter to add on to that. 181 of those were single family dwellings. And so, like I said, business is normal here in Shelby County. The new subdivisions, we have 2 that are probably going to start by the end of the year, if not in the first quarter of next year. New construction of 2 300+ lot subdivisions. And as I said, dwelling units are up. So we're doing well out here. Let's move on to Bullitt County. Felicia?
Hello. Do you want to go ahead, Judge, or you want me to go? I'll go ahead and go. We recently adopted a tourism corridor study along the Kentucky 245, and that's where Jim Beam and Bernheim Forest is. So that was adopted earlier this year with input from the community. So we're excited about that and kind of working on the overlay district on what is and what is not allowed along that corridor. We have our first plan unit development on the docket for for this month. It's going to be located in Mount Washington. It was working with Norton Commons, but they pulled out. But the property owner is now working with Nultmeyer. So it's going to be our first kind of multi-family, single family different densities throughout. So that's our first one in Bullitt County. So we're excited about that. Our building permits are up from last year. We've been actually very busy. So far, we've done 389 single family permits for new single family homes. We have probably 5 or 6 new subdivisions going in, at least a couple 108 lots each, and just been busy. Zonings and variances and conditional use permits. Seems like everybody's in the construction mode right now with COVID. So, Judge Summers, do you have anything to add?
Sure, I sure do. And to help us a little bit here in the community, what we do need, we need funding for what I'm gonna say, a trunk line in the northern end of our county, because we're being restricted up there based off of infrastructure needs for wastewater to tie into MSD, and that's coming out of our Hunters Hollow. And also we have a couple of water grants out there as well too. One being Row Hill, which is active, and the other one, we would like to see some progress. I've seen on the list, it was way down the list, and I know Justin and them have just started on it, but working with North Nelson on Rummage Lane and a few others through there, because this is where the proposed gas line is coming through. And out there, you need some type of, we need water hydrants and all the fun stuff in case there could be some type of accident someday. And I'm proud to say that we had the majority leader of the United States Senate come through and did a press conference at our EMS center, because we have spent a lot of time, money, and energy upgrading our emergency services during this administration as well. And any support you can give us, especially Mr. Riley, where you at? John, you were on here. You're off of my screen. We're really encouraged about partnering with Spencer County to do something with Highway 44 from literally Taylorsville all the way through to the first stop in Mount Washington, from Mount Washington all the way over to 31W. But I'm going to echo my good friend Dan Eisen. Life is good here in Bullitt County. Growth is good, but it also has its opportunities as well. And opportunities here throughout the entire community is infrastructure, especially with wastewater and roads. And Dan, it's good to see you, and I'm looking forward to coming back over to Shelby County. Maybe talk Gary Tapp into coming up there too, if you don't mind. And that's all I have. Thank you all.
Thank you, Judge. Any other comments from Bullitt County? All right, let's move on to Spencer County. Judge Riley?
Sorry, I lost my internet connection. I just got back on. I'm not sure where we are.
County updates.
I have none.
You have no county update? Okay. Anybody else from Spencer County? All right, let's move on then. Oldham County. So anybody from Oldham County want to give an update? Or anybody on?
No Oldham.
All right. Move on to Jefferson County. Emily?
Yes, I'll start, and then Gretchen and Mike also want to talk about some of the long-range planning activities. I definitely kind of clicked to me when I heard from Bullitt County and Shelby County that your activities up is same here. I don't have the number about building permit, that's a different, but just the planning and zoning aspect, we are very, very busy. It look like we just cannot approve fast enough. So as you know, since COVID, we have definitely changed the way we conduct business. We kind of doing a hybrid meeting right now. None of our meetings and none of our cases has been stopped. We continue to review zoning case subdivisions, all different type of reviews. We have adopted kind of a hybrid, mostly virtual, but we also offer a physical location for people who do not have access to the technology. Just let you know, we developed actually a standard operating procedure, and it was used by American Planning Association as a model. So anyone, the city, if you want to look at, if you're doing a combination of virtual and physical, we have a good model for all the cities to follow. So that's one thing. Actually, as a matter of fact, last night we had the first night meeting since COVID. Yeah, we didn't think we can look at controversial cases, but we're moving forward with all kinds of cases, small cases, big cases, controversial cases. We have not stopped. We do have to adjust. So last night we have a night meeting based on the petition from citizens. So that's one thing. The other thing I would like to give everybody an update that we recently, Metro Council passed ordinance adopting the new parking regulation. Now, if you heard me talking last year about CNU, there's a huge impact from that conference. One of them is reducing or eliminate parking requirement in Jefferson County. Basically, if you're in the traditional form district, or if you are in the Louisville, the old Louisville city limit, if you develop residential development, no parking requirement anymore. So totally eliminate. If you have a building of 50 years or older, you do not have a parking requirement either. Even for the suburb, it's hugely reduced. For example, for restaurant, used to be for 1,000 square feet restaurant, you'll be required to have 4 parking spaces. Now it's only 1. So it's reduced 75% across the board. So that's the second one. The third one, what we're doing is, it's lots going on in Louisville. I'm only going to say 3 things, is the zoning reform. So Metro Council and Planning Commission both passed a resolution. So we're going to look at the land development code or zoning code from equity perspective. We have done a lot of work already. We completed advancing equity. We finished the housing need assessment, and recently the zoning code diagnosis by a consultant from outside. So we are just got that started. Next 6 months, we're going to do a lot of public engagement. We're going to totally review the land development code and make some recommendations sometime in February. So we call it zoning reform. It's going to be huge. This is something also catch a lot of attention from other cities across the country. So hopefully next time I attend this meeting, I can give you a little bit more update on that. We just got that started. And then Gretchen and actually Mike King probably will have something to add about long range planning.
Yes, thanks, Emily. Kind of going on Emily's thing with Metro Council, another thing that Metro Council passed back in February was 100% clean energy resolution, in which we are first focusing on getting Louisville Metro government 100% clean. And we've got some different ways we're planning to tackle that, but one milestone is hiring an energy manager. And we went out with a job search not too long ago. We've got a really robust applicant pool, which we're currently reviewing. And so we're super excited about having somebody on board that is just looking at our energy use and energy efficiency for Louisville Metro government. And we really hope that that is going to bring about big savings for us, but also looking into the future of how we can become cleaner and more renewable, using more renewables in the future. So that's kind of a big thing happening with us. And then in terms of kind of our long range planning, we continue with the Broadway master plan. We are getting down to kind of more solutions and sort of pulling together a document, the master plan, which is going to, is looking at the right of way and how we can be, more multimodal, how we can really support transit, how we can, sort of deal with a lot of the safety issues along the corridor. And we're coming up with some very kind of interesting solutions that we're looking at. So that continues on. And as a complement to Broadway, we are starting with a Preston master plan. So Preston Highway, and we're kind of looking at it in similar as we've done with Broadway and with sort of Dixie Highway, that we're looking at the entire corridor, although a lot of the focus will be in the section where we've got kind of the a lot of the economic development. So south of, kind of south of the downtown, down towards the 65, the 265. Nicole George's district will be a big area that we'll be looking at. So this plan, while it's looking at transit, will also be looking at kind of the economic development along that corridor. So we're excited to be getting that RFP out the door quite soon. That should be coming out in the next week or so. And the one other kind of big thing that we're looking at, not to take too much time, but is two-way street conversion. And again, Metro Council has dedicated about $1 million towards looking at both the analysis of which streets can be two-way, but also actually implementing some of this two-way conversion. And we're looking most specifically in kind of West Louisville and in our downtown area for these two-way street conversions. So that's kind of the update. Mike, do you have things to add?
The only one I would add on there is some of the strategies we're doing to try and help restaurants with social distancing protocols. We started a program where we are allowing restaurants to utilize non-peak hour restricted parking lanes to sort of extend their patios out towards the street. I think kind of the national term is streeteries, which we thought was kind of cheesy, so we just call it on-street dining options, which is a lot more government and official, so we decided to go that route. So we've had a few restaurants that have actually implemented it and have done really well business-wise, and we're looking at maybe a couple more here in the next week or so that are going to come online as well. We're hoping to run those hopefully through the end of November, but it'll be kind of weather cooperating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it I can think of.
Yeah, and just a little note, Mike reminded me that I should let everybody know. I'm going to be leaving Louisville Metro government at the end of the year. I've actually moved out of Louisville, so I've stayed on through the fall just because of the unusual situation we are in with the pandemic, but I will be sort of transitioning out of this position, and Mike will be taking over a lot of the responsibilities and roles that I had previously.
Well,
just so you all know.
Thank you for that update. It was good luck on wherever you're headed, and it's been great having you in Louisville and a part of the Planning Council.
Thank you.
Same thing. Good. Thank you, Gretchen, for all you do, and good luck to you in the future. All right, we'll move on to Trimble County. Judge Pollack.
Hello, everybody. I want to apologize for being a few minutes late. I was coming from another meeting. Our planning and zoning is coming along okay up here in Trimble County. We have issued 47 permits since the beginning of May. We have one new subdivision in the south end of the county that from what I understand, the lots are selling really quick. And we are starting to talk about the 5-year plan to start putting that together. And I'm sure we'll be asking for some guidance from you all down at KIPDA. One of the things that Danielle, you may know this, that I've complained about, and I don't know if this would be an easy fix, is in Trimble County, I would like to have things in the zone class that's appropriate. You know, for example, we have several subdivisions, but they're zoned A1 or even A2, and they're 1 or 2 acre lots in these subdivisions, and unsold lots tend to have a lot of overgrowth. And then the residents of these subdivisions are complaining that these empty lots are not being mowed and cared for. And then we have farmers that say, well, we do that for agriculture. And I don't know about 1 or 2 acre lots in a subdivision being agriculture. So going forward, I think that's some of the plan that we're going to need, and try to rectify that. But that's about it for Trimble County.
All right, thank you, Judge. Do we have anybody from Henry County? I don't think so. We don't. Okay, thanks, Danielle. So that's the county updates. Appreciate all those updates. I know we haven't met in a long time since January, so it took us a little while there today, but we got through it. Our next item then would be announcements. Danielle, do we have any announcements?
No, we don't. Like I said, we'll, I am going to ask, folks from Louisville Metro, who would be a good contact. Same with you with Bullitt County, as far as Hayden needing to introduce the opportunity zone piece into the CEDS, because Jefferson and Bullitt County are our only counties that have designated opportunity zones. And so we would just like, who is the right contact person to reach out that Hayden needs to connect with in order to get some good information about how your particular communities are utilizing those and what successes have you had with that thus far?
We have Eric Burnett, Economic Development Department. I can send out his contact to you, Danielle, with that work.
That's perfect.
He's been working on that for a couple years, so so he will be the best contact.
Okay. Thank you, Emily. Felicia?
Danielle, you can reach out to either me or Keith.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's it. That's all we have. Like I said, look for, like I said, you'll be look for, we're going to be sending out surveys. So please, if you didn't respond to the survey that I sent out, please respond to that. That would be really helpful for us gathering information for the CEDS update and helping us sort of flesh out the resiliency plan. And then we'll be looking for communication from Olivia related to the hazard mitigation plan update. We hope to see you all present. It would be really great. We have a lot of stuff happening here on that front with all these different plans, and would love your participation in these as much as possible. So that's it.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Is there any other update or any other announcements?
Oh, and sorry, one other thing I would like to say, Judge Eisen, related to your concern with jobs, we connect with Kentuckiana Works as far as our update for CEDS. And so we will reach out and specifically have an in-depth conversation with them about how they are handling access to jobs or businesses having problem filling jobs. And then we can maybe do maybe a session with local officials and to help address that issue and identify how to move forward on that as well. So I just wanted to let you know that we do communicate with them as part of the CEDS update. So hopefully we can get you some information on that as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other announcements?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to other business. Do we have any other business?
The next Regional Planning Council meeting will be January 12th. And so we will be hosting it, I'm assuming, again, online unless something changes.
Okay. Public comment period. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak? All right, hearing none or seeing none, we'll move on. Our next item would be then a motion to adjourn if there's no other business.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a second?
A second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you all for your attendance.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ryan.
On the 12th of January.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Bye.